Hi everyone, welcome to Tangle with Tracy Anne. A couple of weeks ago we delved into the world of Art Nouveau. Fast forward in time to the 1920s and today we'll be looking at Art Deco. The Art Deco style was popular from the 1920s right up until World War II. Unlike the organic style that we saw in Art Nouveau, Art Deco is known more for its bold and symmetrical shapes. As I scroll down here, you can see lots of images of the Chrysler Building, which is a very famous example of Art Deco. If I flip back and look at the doors from the elevator of this building, I'm going to use these doors as inspiration for my second design today. Using a tan tile, I'm doing the usual 4 dots and a border. And then in each corner, I'm drawing a square. The dots will be right in the center of the square. Now using a micron pen, I'll go round those squares. With my pencil, I'm just as a guide dividing that bottom line in half and then going up about 3/4 of the way. So you can see I've drawn a fan shape. Here I have a brown micron 05 and I'm going to colour in that centre of the square. It's a little bit darker than I realised, but I have a lighter colour that I'm going to colour in the next tier down. I want to draw a square in the background, so I'm using a bijou tile just to trace around the corners. On this centre pattern, I want the illusion of it getting darker as each tier recedes. So I'm putting a light bit of shadow on the second layer and darker on the third layer, with the white charcoal standing out in the foreground. Add a little bit of shading where each of the arches overlap, and again around the bottom edge. I've added some white gel pen here, but I don't feel it's enough, so I'll colour in those sections with some white charcoal pencil. Now I'm going to come in with a gold gel pen and highlight sections. Add a little bit more shading on the inside square. Then blend that in. I'm going to also add some shading on the outer edge of that central square. And a little bit of shading on that other square in the background. And to finish everything off, I'm just using my black pen and going around and touching things up. Or as Maria would call it, add a little bit of love. Add your initials. And I might just add a little bit of gold to the arches at the bottom. And there's our first design. For my second piece, I'm using a piece of card that I had left over from one of the project packs. I'm doing 4 dots and a border, but as you notice, I'm doing quite a wide border. In each corner, draw a square. Try and get them reasonably even in size. I'm going to place a dot in the center of each of the squares, and this will be the starting point of a second square. So start that square from the dot and make it a similar size to the first square. Now I'm going to draw a third square, and this one will start from the corner edge of the second square. This last square is slightly smaller than the others. Before I start with my ink, I'm just going to plan the design out a little bit. So draw a line up the center and then just put a dot to divide it into quarters. And then I'm just going to form some arches from that bottom corner up to each dot. I'm marking a point just at the start of the curve on each side and doing another arch. I'm just sort of doing some guidelines up in between there before I start with the ink. Now I'm drawing a line on either side of that central line and tracing over those arches at the top. In the center I'm doing nays. If you'd like it to be totally symmetrical, you could divide that and do a pattern on either side of that center. And now I'm just going to go over my lines. My hand's sticking on the table a little bit, so that line's a little bit shaky. So never mind, I'll just thicken it. In the top section, draw a line up the center and then fan around, curving around at the top to make that fan shape. From the bottom corner, I'm going to start drawing some muka. Start from that bottom edge and bring it up into that first section. Do the same on the other side, and then again on that next section as you go up, and again on that third section. I'm going to use my pencil to map out my border. So I'm drawing little arches starting from the outside, one in the middle, one on either side, and then filling one in between those. And then I can go around with my ink, draw around that central arch, and then on either side draw two arches as if they're sitting behind. This is a common pattern that you'll see in Art Deco. Now I'm going to draw an aura all the way around the border. Draw around the top edge of that square in the corner and come halfway down between it and the next square. Then draw a line to join them. If you're struggling with drawing these lines straight, you can always use a ruler. So I'm doing the same again on this second tier. Draw around the corner, then come down halfway between it and the next square. If you find they're not quite lining up, you've got a bit of leniency. You don't have to completely follow your pencil lines. And do this all the way around. Now on that very bottom, I'm filling in between the line and the pattern by colouring it in with my black pen. I'm going around now and thickening up the lines. Anywhere where I've been a bit shaky, I can compensate when I'm doing this thickening of the lines. Using a brown pen, I'm going to draw some echo lines parallel to each of those curved lines on every second section here at the top. In the other sections, I'm going to do the very same thing using a white gel pen. Now I'm going to colour in the little sections at the top, but I'm using brown at the end of each white section and white at the end of each brown section. I'm going to extend that curve at the very top. Then instead of colouring fully, I'm going to use the same technique as I used at the top, drawing echo lines to sort of shade alternate sections. Going back to my black pen, I'm going to fill the next sections with tipple. To add a bit of contrast, I'm going to completely colour these sections with the muka with my brown pen. You'll find that the fine one at the edge almost gets coloured in, but we'll go over that later on. I'm going to also colour part of that naze and then go round the edges with my white charcoal pencil and just colour the centre of those arches. Using the same technique as I did on the last tile, I'm doing a light shadow on the first section behind the white and then colouring it a little bit darker on that very back curve. Then blend it all with your tortillon. To add a bit of interest, I'm colouring the background of the tipple with my brown pen. Then in that section that wasn't coloured in, I'm going to tipple that using purely my brown pen. Using my gold gel pen, I'm going to trace over those muka that didn't show up when I coloured in. And then I'm going to add a little bit of gold edging in a variety of places. I'm going to use my gold pen to completely colour in that first tier of that border. And colour in the rest of the muka with gold. To make my gold highlights stand out, I'm putting a line of black on either side of it. Now to add some shading. Add your initials, and we're finished. And there's our two designs side by side. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, do that. And if you'd like to become a member of my Facebook group, there is a link below this video. So until next week, stay safe and bye for now. If you'd like to see more of my videos, check out my YouTube channel, or there are some links on the screen. Just click on those and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.